It's time to talk foreclosures, and that can only mean one thing. It's Reo Frank, otherwise known as Big Bank Frank.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to start calling him Handout Frank.
What did we have? Oh, we called him the Grim Reaper, didn't we, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Grim Reaper.
That was Christine.
Don't fear the Reaper.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Frank is going to attack a question that's slightly outside of his comfort zone, but he's got a real issue with it right now, and he wants to make sure that everybody knows.
So is it a rant?
What the heck is natural hazard disclosure, and why does anybody care about this stuff?
Well, people do tend to care about this, especially buyers when they receive this multi-page natural hazard disclosure report.
Multi meaning what?
It could be 40 to 60 pages.
40 to 60 pages?
Yeah,
are they supposed to read that?
Yeah, it's actually pretty enjoyable reading.
Oh, shut up.
It is.
It's not good reading.
Well, basically, an NHD or a natural hazard disclosure report is a report that's talking about all the environmental hazards, concerns that anyone might have about a property in the general area of the property.
Doesn't every property in America have some type of natural hazard in it?
Yeah, I mean, but it could be things...
And it should be disclosed.
Yeah, it could be things like oil wells in the vicinity. It can be...
We got a lot of those around here.
You could be on an earthquake fault zone.
We got a lot of that around here.
Of course, you could be over a flight zone for an airport.
And we got that.
Near a former military ordnance dump, or who knows what.
Seal Beach. Was that nuclear at one point?
I believe so, but I don't think we can talk about that.
Oh, sorry.
But
allegedly,
sometimes when I get this NHD report, I have had agents come back and tell me that the buyer is really concerned because we're.
Now I know why you brought this.
We're very near a former military ordnance site, or we're near an area that once had active oil wells and things like that, and I can generally understand.
This happened to you recently, didn't it, Frank?
It actually did.
I knew it.
Yeah, it was the reasoning that someone backed out because this was because of an oil well that was, I think, a little over a mile away.
Half the city is over oil wells.
Buyers get concerned about things, about oil leakage, spills, seepage, and things like that.
Silly buyers.
What are they crazy? You're living in Long Beach. There's oil.
The audience can't see these visuals right here, but I'm going to go over a couple of things that an NHD report is going to tell you. I mentioned a few of them, like military ordnance, commercial, industrial, airport proximity, airport noise, radon.
What's radon?
Active
it's
mines.
Gas, huh? What kind of gas is it? What does it
actually,
come from?
You know what? That's something that people...
It turns you into Hulk.
Oh!
It turns you into
really?
Hulk.
Like the Avengers.
That's gamma rays.
Yeah, radon is actually kind of like I guess a molecule or a gamma type dust substance. That's the easiest way.
Where are we going
to explain it? And literally,
this is keeping it real.
From what I know, literally every soil in Southern California has some level of radon or contaminant in the soil. But it's like a lot of other things, like lead-based paint or asbestos and things like that. If not disturbed, I'm not going to say it's completely harmless, but if not disturbed, it's not as big an issue.
I had a girlfriend like that one.
And how far are we in?
14 minutes.
14 minutes there. But that's actually part of your NHD package. From the listing agent side of things, I always want to disclose to the buyer, and of course the buyer's agent, anything I can, material or otherwise. I'm not the one that puts these NHD reports together. There are companies out there that do these for a reasonable fee, maybe about $100, $125.
Isn't this another great reason to not sell your home by yourself? Because if you don't provide a natural hazard disclosure and somebody gets a radon infection in a year and you don't disclose it,
you're fired.
Exactly. But believe it or not, people tend to they get some buyers actually get really fearful, like they would with a professional home inspection report. They see the things like radon or the former military ordnance zones and things like that, and they really worry about the...
soil contains CO2. What the heck is this?
What? Exactly. or actually...
There's landmines.
There's some other items on this report,
like
and
what,
statements
Frank?
like, that discloses whether you live in a special flood hazard zone, a high fire hazard zone, an earthquake fault zone. We already mentioned that, but I think these are all part of basically living in California, and you're not too far away from some kind of zone. But this some kind of zone.
We're in a zone. What zone? I don't know. An ozone.
But this report is important, and like Scott said before, this is something to cover all your bases and make sure that buyer on the other side and you as a seller are disclosing absolutely anything and everything, because nowadays in this environment, maybe we'll go back a little bit to the for sale by owner, everybody's looking for a reason to sue somebody, So the more disclosure you have, the more thorough, the better. From the buyer side of things, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, don't be so freaked out and shocked about a lot of these things, because if you live in a potential flood zone, more than likely, if you do a little bit of research and find out the history of that area, you're going to see that
it hasn't flooded since
exactly. But there's always a potential, and you have to know that.
Natural hazards exist absolutely everywhere.
Absolutely,
you're never going to buy someplace that does not have a natural hazard.
Exactly.
Who buys the natural hazard report?
It's usually going to be the seller or the listing side, the seller.
Okay,
they're going to provide you the report.
Are there different levels of reports?
There's different levels of reports. There's some that will also have like a supplemental tax report on top of it, so you don't have to go digging for the supplemental taxes yourself. I always order a premium package so I'm telling everybody everything I have knowledge about, everything from the natural hazards to
include like a soil survey, and
surveys, more Mellorews, anything you can. You always want to tell the buyer everything you can. And
what's it cost? Like $100 more?
It's like $125 for peace of mind
to get the premium over the regular, because everybody says, well, trying to save $100, but get the premium report.
An extra $25 gets you a premium report. You've let your buyer know everything, along with, I give earthquake books and mold books and lead-based paint books and all the knowledge I can to a buyer.
All the stuff.
So that if this buyer decides to move forward after I've acknowledged and disclosed all these things to them, then you as a seller have peace of mind. And as a buyer, read as much as you can and know going in what you're reading. And I think you'll have a little more peace of mind.
So which of these natural hazards did the buyer who ticked you off use as a BS excuse to get out of the sale?
They didn't tick me off, but they
did, Frank. When you come up with topics, it's because somebody ticked you off.
Well, actually, there was a couple. There was a oil field which hadn't been active since, I believe, 1957 or something to that effect, and they swore that there was a mold issue in the property also, which even their professional home inspectors stated there wasn't. So.
Some people can use this natural hazard report.
They can use a natural hazard within that time frame. They could use their home inspection. There are all kinds of things that can get you out of your contingency period if you're within your contingency period.
There you go. Did you break it down, Frank?
Yeah. Well, two breakdowns from the listing side. Pay that extra $25 and give complete and thorough disclosure. From the buying side, don't be surprised by what you see, and take a lot of these things with a grain of salt, because, like Scott said earlier, there's some kind of hazard or zone somewhere within your vicinity everywhere.
There you go. You heard it right here on Keeping It Real Estate at K-Beach Global Radio on the campus of Long Beach State University.